Alright, welcome back to Practical React. Tonight we're going to be looking at implementing PWA push notifications, part 2. Part 1 I'll leave a link in the description for that. And so here's the outline for it. We're going to be installing a library called WebPush, which is what we're going to be using to handle the implementation details. Part 2, or step 2 rather, we're going to be creating a VAPID key, and VAPID, by the way, stands for Voluntary Application Server Identification. It's not necessary. It does a couple things for you. Obviously, it identifies your server to the application. The other thing it does is it allows you to encrypt messages. I haven't done all the research on this, but I suppose it has to do with the fact that it uses JWT or JSON Web Tokens, which is encrypted. So I suspect that that's the basis by which these notification messages can be encrypted directly to the end user. And for me, that's important because I'm going to be sending status updates on orders. It's probably not super secret, but on the other hand, if it can be encrypted, that's probably better. And so we'll be generating that key. We'll also be, after that, we'll be placing those keys. That's a one-time generation, so we'll be placing those in the config section of the API server. And then we need to be able to get that key. We get this key into a page. And to do that, I'm going to have to create an API endpoint that my PWA can call and grab that. So that'll be step 4. Step 5, we're going to integrate the VAPID key into the service worker, which is where the user accepts the push notifications that we'll send to them, or not, as the case may be. In the event they do accept it, we need to be able to send that key back to the server. So that's the reason for that. Let's see, step 6. We're going to make sure that we're receiving back the information that we need from the client in order to send notifications directly to them. This consists of this P256DH key and also this auth key. So we'll be checking to make sure that we're getting those back when it sends us back that information from the client. It allows us to send push notifications. And then step 7, we're going to trigger a push notification to the client from a completely unrelated API call via curl. So that's our steps, and without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so from my API server project, I'm going to yarn install web push. Add Alright, while it's doing that, let's see if there's anything else. So you see here, this is the code that we should be using to generate the keys. We're going to get a public and a private key. We need to store both, and we need to make sure we push the public key in our next step. Well, this is unfortunate. Okay, that's all done. So we're going to drop down into the node client, and we're going to generate this key. So let's do this. Var key equals, I'm just going to paste this in. Right, of course, my bad. Var web push. I guess I can use const here. Const web push equals require web push. Alright, let's make sure that's defined. Okay, great. Const key equals paste. Yeah. Huh. I already defined it when I messed it up. There we go. Okay, so this is what we want here. So we're just kind of like copy this right out of here. Alright, this needs to go into the config. And for me, I'm using node config, which means that in my, so I got a number of projects here. In my API server project, I've got a config folder, and I've got a local JSON which has all my local variables. Alright, so this, I don't need that single quote. Okay, so this is my public key. We're gonna just drop this right in here. Okay. And we're gonna take the private key and do the same. Great. Okay, so now we have an object called push in our config, and that object has public and private keys. Also has a subject key. Research indicates that might be necessary. If it's not, I will remove it, but that is what we need there right now. So let's see. Okay, so we're through step 3 here. Okay, so now we need to create an API call that's going to serve that public key. Alright, so in my API project, I've got TypeScript folder, and I've got handlers and routers. So the first thing to do is create a handler, and you see I already have an empty page here for it. I'm going to borrow this. There we go. And so this will, yeah, I'll just leave that as get for now. That's fine. It doesn't like response toolkits. It's probably because I need to add this as well. Alright, and that's part of the Hapi API. Okay, I don't need the user service here. What I do need is to import config from config. Alright, and so from there I'm going to create another const called VAPID Keys equals, yeah, that's fine, equals config.get, and now I can get my push object. Okay, and so now what I should be able to do is go return VAPID keys dot public. Alright, I think that's all I'm gonna have to return. Okay, so that will be my handler. I need to bind my handler. Let's do this. Let's rename this just a little bit to be really clear on what it's doing. Get VAPID public key. That's probably overly specific. We'll leave it there. Okay, so that is the handler I need to add to my router. I did create an empty module here, or mostly empty module. So now I need to see, okay, so this is what your typical route object. So you see this get users. I'm going to rename this to get. This doesn't have to match the name that there's no convention here. We'll come to that here in a sec. Alright, so let's see if I determine the path I want to use. Push register. Right, okay, but that's for registering. Okay, I don't have a route I want to use for this, I guess. Make sure. No. Okay, so we'll just call this route VAPID key. Okay, so the method is get, the path is VAPID key. I am not going to have authorization or ACL on this. This is going to be anonymous. My handler, I need to import. I don't guess I'm using my fail action for anything. That's fine. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to import that handler, which is get from, I think it's going to be called get VAPID Key. There we go. Okay, so I just imported the handler that I'm going to be using for that. I will wrap it in a response later. I pretty much wrap everything in a response, and the response has 3 properties: data, message, and is error. Okay, pretty standard, I guess. But I'm not going to implement that this evening. That's something I will do offline. But what I do want to do right now is set the handler to get VAPID key. Okay, so now that should create the route I need in order to serve this. So I'm going to check one more thing. So in my init folder, or my init module, you'll see here I've added push routes. So this should go through and traverse each routes in this routes object, which is exported, and add that. So we will hope that's the case, and we're going to go ahead and build and start the server. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to npm run, I think it's build. I can check that in my package here. npm run build. Alright, let's see what happens. And you see, so my build command, it traverses all the link modules that I have locally that I need. And so yeah, link libraries that I have locally that I need, that I depend on. So it's going to update those by going through them each and running a TSC, and consequently building the JavaScript from the TypeScript. And after that's done, I merely need to start it. Run start. Oh right, I need to add that back in. Okay, yeah, I took some properties out of my config, so hold on a sec. I'm going to put those back. Okay, I got my config set back up, and now you see it is running port 44093. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop into another. Actually, I'll do this. Son of a bitch. Yeah. Actually, I shouldn't need to go anywhere else. Let's stay there. Now what I should be able to do is curl that address. Copy link. Alright, and the route I'm looking for is VAPID Key. Okay, it says I am missing my authentication. I shouldn't need it for that. Let me go see what is going on there. Alright, so what I had to update was I have a default strategy of using JSON web tokens, and so I had to overwrite that by making auth false for this particular route. So having done that, I should be able to go back to this page, and curl this again. Here. Let's see if I do this. Connection refused. Why is it refusing my connection? Let's see if it's refusing all of my connections. I wonder if it's just from there, maybe. Oh, because I didn't update my port. Still tells me I am not authorized. Oh. No, still not authorized. Just for the sake of checking this out, let's try it in Chrome here. No, it's definitely just not authorized. Why is that? Let's just double check this with another route that I know to be working to see if maybe I've bombed my local configuration somehow. No, it's something specific about that route. Wonderful. Method get. Maybe it has something to do with this. Maybe it doesn't like that. Oh. Handler error not found. Does that mean my handler is not found? Here. Let's rebuild it and restart it without that hyphen key. I can't imagine that'd be a problem, but I don't have a hyphenated route in any of my other routes at this point, so I'm just gonna try the easiest thing and work my way through there. Okay, so here it is now, 37827 37827. Okay, that's not what it is. So I am going to see, let's see if this is, let's just make sure this is defined. Get VAPID key. Maybe for some reason, as the error would suggest, it is not defined. I'm going to put my key in there because I like that. Key FN. Okay, so there's a little string to let us know what we're looking at. And let's try again. Okay, well, it definitely has picked up on that being a function. So I wonder if it is an issue with the function itself. So let's look at the handler, and let's just see if we can get some output from this. From get VAPID key. Alright, hello from get VAPID key. We should see that now. Let's get rid of this since we know that's working. So you'll see my project structure real quick here while we're waiting for this. So it's composed, there's a couple other that aren't in here yet, but I've got MySQL and core, which and common, which all are linked to Hapi. So this is how I separate my application logic. Front core, that's going to be all my API calls. and then front web is actually, that's ported. I'm hoping that's going to just be a responsive PWA to handle mobile as well as desktop. We'll see how that works out. That's my hope though. So that's kind of how my project split up. Okay, it's ready. 45143. 45143 VAPID key. Still not authorized. Let's see if we have any additional output here. And we don't. Let's see if that output is actually from my curl. It's not. Oh yeah, it is. There it is. Okay. So it's still telling me that it is not authorized. Alright, let's do this. Let's compare it again. I wonder if it has to do with this, because I didn't add this. So let's, alright, so we're gonna add, we're gonna add this plugins object and see if maybe I need to make sure that the ACL is also disabled. So let's have a look. I bet that does it. Okay, 39751 is going to be my port this time. Boom. Alright. We are that far. So let's see. We have created the API endpoint. Oh, wait. Right, okay. That can't, that's the one I'm going to use to register it, so this is not right. Here, let's fix this. Okay. Alright, so we've tested with that, so we can start marking some of this stuff off. Alright, whoops. That's 3, 2, there we go. Okay, we wrote it into the page. I think that's all we're going to be doing the server for the time being. Okay, so now we need to integrate VAPID Key into Service Worker to subscribe to push notification. Alright, so we're now moving over to from the API project to the web project, and in particular we're going to be looking at my service worker. Here we go. Okay, and so what we need in here first is the parsing function from the web push documentation. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so here is my documentation. Alright, so here is the function that they have defined that we can reuse in order to make this so it can't be sent back to the server in the same form, apparently. I don't know if this is true or not. I mean, I guess we could try it without it and see. That'll be interesting. But the instructions are to convert this. I think we're gonna see what happens if we don't, because I think I read somewhere that used to be a thing, but maybe it's not anymore. So we have our call, we need to, okay, so we're going to skip the parsing function, but we are going to create our API call. So that's actually going to be in front core. And right now I think I've just stubbed this out here. Yes. Okay. And so you'll see I'm using the Axios library and just a get. I also have a URL function. All this does is this wraps my I need to change my port here to this wraps whatever page I want to use, or it appends it to my base URL. Oh, come on. Okay, so you see my base URL here, and so it's going to return a URL along with the route that I give it. So that's what that looks like. So this needs to be VAPID key. Okay, so now I have a function that is going to get the VAPID key, or at least a promise that's going to contain one. And so where is that implemented? That is implemented in the front web, and for now, because we are just testing this, and I have not set up my test system yet. Even if I did, I don't know if I want to do it this way. Use that in order to demonstrate it, but for the time being, we are going to go back to my login page, quote unquote, in my React app that I believe already has, let's see, get VAPID key. So I have this button here that is in the page that I'm using to test this, and it's calling on click this get VAPID key method, and you'll see here that I have invoked that get VAPID key function that I have imported from the front core, and it doesn't have an action to perform with it yet. So let's do this. Let's console.log that and see what comes back. Okay, so I believe I have all that set up, so we need to skip over to this, and we need to build it, then we need to npm run. Okay, so we're going to issue the command to rebuild the TypeScript, and we're also going to issue the command to run the dev server, which is serving the PWA in development. And we're also going to open another window here so I can rebuild the TypeScript without killing the server every time. I haven't always figured out why it does this, but when I update the TypeScript, sometimes it hot reloads everything and sometimes it doesn't. So what I do for now is I just make sure to rebuild the TypeScript every time. Anyhow, so that's that. So now I need to see, I believe I have the local host here. There we go. So I think if I use Shift Control R, it should do a full reload of the page. And it did. Okay, so it's my CORS policy. I need to update my CORS policy to allow cross-origin requests. And it's coming from a different port. Oh well. Okay, let's see about that. Do I want to do that with you? I suppose I'm not. I'm going to pause here. Alright, so I found the CORS fix, I believe. I haven't tried it yet, but I'll add this. This is specific to Hapi, which is the framework I'm using for my API. So what it boils down to is I needed to add this routes object that has this CORS property set to true. Now I don't know if this is going to work. We're about to find out. means I have to rebuild. I have to rebuild and restart my API. So that's happening right now. And as soon as that is done, we will try to get that key again. Uh, 42691, I gotta rebuild it. Next, I'm gonna have that figured out so that is not changing anymore. That's too much. It isn't even clear why it's changing because I have a port assigned here. That's odd. Anyway, 42691. So I gotta go back to front core. Okay, now I gotta rebuild my front end. Okay. Alright. Hard reload. Let's try this. Look at that. There it is. I got it. There's my data. Great. Okay, I guess this is all extra stuff that Axios returns, but so they return a data property that had the key in it. That's great. Okay, so we are at least that far. How far is that? That is here. Okay, we have. Okay, I don't know if I need to do that or not. We are not going to parse the key for now, as I mentioned, but what I do need to do is I need to update my service worker next to include this key. And so now that I know that it's working based on that button click, I'm going to go into my service worker. I'm going to go into my service worker and implement that there. So we're going to go import get VAPID key from CC front core. Alright, that should do that. Alright, and I think I have some code here. Oh, you know what? I feel like I might have this in my index page. Yeah, my notification permission is here. I don't suppose it needs to be there, but that's where it is. Here, let's grab this out. Okay. Okay. Alright, so that's what we'll do if they don't want, for now, to receive notifications. If they do, then we have to trigger the API call for the key. And then we need to create the good question. I'm not sure what happens after that. It says subscribe. Okay, alright. I think I know what it is now. Okay. Okay, but I need that promise first. I think that's async, so what I should be able to do is this. Okay, let's make that anonymous function asynchronous so I can do this. Var VAPID key response equals get VAPID key. If actually what I want to do is this for now. I'm gonna try get VAPID key. All right, we're gonna try to get the VAPID key, and we're gonna set the VAPID key response equal to that. It's got to be var. It's in a block, so we'll do let here instead of var. Now what we're gonna do is catch that, and we'll just want to know for now. Oops, no VAP. Let's do VAPID key error, and we'll inspect the error object. Okay, that. Okay, and so now what I should have is a VAPID key response dot data. I think is what I want to send there. Okay. I have absolutely no idea if this is going to work. Let's look at that output one more time. Data, that's a straight key. Okay, so if it does work, then I don't know where it's just pushing it to. That's what's so strange about it. I feel like this is where I need to set the endpoint. I need to set the endpoint so push manager dot subscribe knows where to send this. I'm not certain about that, but this is what I think. Okay. Okay. Let's consult the documentation real quick on web push. See, they don't have that. see, that's for sending the notification, which is great. That's fine. Okay, it is not clear. And it is clear that it won't know, so it's clear that it won't work as it is right now. There's something I am not understanding about this. Because this subscription is going to let's look at here. Let's look at this and see what we can come up with, because it's going to send a special. It's going to send a couple properties that I need back to the server, which I think I've already mentioned, but I will review. Right, we're looking for the client to send us these keys, and it has to go obviously to a particular route. But I got to figure out how to specify the route because it's not clear at the moment. So that's where we're at. Let's see what the arguments are for this. This is an experimental technology, seriously. Options, it only has 2 options. Let's see what it says about it. The subscribe method of the push manager interface subscribes to a push service. It returns a promise that resolves to a push subscription object containing details of a push subscription. A new push subscription is created if the current service worker does not have an existing subscription. Okay, so it's going to generate that, and then maybe I have to send that back. Yes. Let's subscribe. I feel like that's probably what it is. So right now we're gonna see if we're getting back what we expect in the console. Right. So let's do this. Let's go const result. I'm gonna guess that's synchronous. It might say. No, it's a promise. It just said it was a promise. So let's do this. We're gonna just call this promise for now. And we're gonna do promise. No. Okay. Looks like I've got my formatting a little boogered here. There we go. Dot then, dot catch. I don't think I'm going to use a finally yet. I'm going to go D for data. We'll have a look at our data. Error. Okay, so if I understand how this works correctly, that's what it's going to do. I need to make sure I take this out of my index page. We're just going to comment it out for the time being. I have no idea if this is going to work in my service worker file. I might have to do something else here, but for the time being, we are going to attempt to request permission, which means that we have to first revoke it. We need to rebuild our front end. npm run tsc. Oh, whoops. There. Oh, whoops, it's not gonna work. I do skip lib check. Okay, that worked. It's gonna cause a rebuild. It did cause a rebuild, says it took 2 seconds. So we're gonna go back to here. We're gonna, first of all, let's check out our properties. Ask. Okay. So now we are going to do this. It didn't ask. It didn't ask. Here, let's do this. Maybe it didn't reload the files with Shift Control R. So we'll do this again. No, it's still not asking. I'm afraid it's for the reason I've already mentioned. Let's see. Let's go back to my index page and let's just uncomment this and just see what happens. Look at that, it asks now. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to pull this out of my service worker. This code here, I need to drop it directly into the page, but I obviously can't do that because A, is TypeScript, B, it's got dependencies. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another file. File pushRegistration.ts. I need this. Okay. And so now I need to go back to my index and we are going to scrap this for now. And we're going to change the source here. I'm going to call this. Ah, yes, I remember now. Push registration.js. Okay, so I'm going to leave pushRegistration.js at the root, I suppose. I don't know if I like that. Maybe I won't. But it's not going to be picked up by the app itself. I'm going to leave it there for now, and we are going to update our package.json file here to include do 2 things. Alright, so you see where I'm copying my service worker to the root. I'm just going to follow JS push registration.js to push registration.js. And yes, this command is getting long. Okay, so TSC will build the push registration file, and then my command here to start the dev server is going to copy that to the root. And now I just need to make sure it gets served by adding it to my parcel. Okay. Alright, so if this works, we should see that we can get push registration. Okay, built without any errors. That's probably a good sign. So what we're going to do is we're just going to clear the cache again and reload it. Oh, look at that. I think it worked. I think it worked. Cannot read property data of undefined because get VAPID key is not a function. Okay. Well, that actually worked reasonably well so far. Okay, so it did pick up on our push registration file. That's good. What isn't good is that it doesn't have any idea it doesn't know get VAPID key. Is a function apparently. Let's see what it thinks it is. Or thinks is probably not the right word there. That's kind of creepy, really. Let's see. We are just going to TSC. Do I need to TSC this? I do. Alright, it's rebuilding that. So let's run over here and delete, clear the data, and reload the sucker. It's still saying, what I don't see is notification permission status. It does not have, here, let's do this. Let's go back to ask. Oh, I know why it did that. I know why, because it's only doing that when it's only recopying those files when I restart the server here. Let's do this. Let's go copy root scripts. Let's break that up. So we're going to do this. We're going to take this. We're going to take these CP commands right on out of here. So I think I can do this. npm run copy root scripts. Okay. Okay, so now what I should be able to do is go here and go npm run build tsc. See if that worked. Oh. No, it didn't. I gotta add this back here. Okay. This actually is probably, yeah, that's situated fine. Alright. Looks like it updated everything. I think we need to do this again. Okay, so it is in fact undefined, so get VAPID key coming out of front core is not a thing. Why is that? Make sure I have that listed right. Look at that. I did not have my capitalization correct. What do you think? You think it works now? Okay, now we have to do this. We gotta make sure they ask again, and let's do a, oh, that did not do its thing. We got another problem. Okay. It still says it's undefined. But it also still, okay, you see this is, I didn't clear my data and I got burned again. I will, if you know how to do that better, let me know. Okay, so it appears that it was granted. Then I got this message here. Missing application server key. Let's see about that. I guess we should see if this oh, yeah, I didn't await it. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and change that back, and looks like it's built. We're not going to trust that. We're going to reload it. Hey, look. We got an endpoint. Okay. Alright, I wonder if I can change that. I wonder if I can set my own. What the hell do I want to go through Google for that? That can't be right. Or is it? Is that the way I have to do it? Alright, so let's evaluate where we're at right now. We got... Alright, so we managed to get our application server key integrated. So it does look like we have to parse it, so that's cool. So it's no longer a thing. We did add it to the subscription request. Okay, so now I gotta figure out if I have to route my push notifications through the Google API, which I really sincerely hope I do not have to. That would just suck. Who wants to rely on Google? Okay, well, I'm gonna leave it off there, so we'll have part 3 coming up hopefully here briefly.